Greetings, adventurers, and welcome back to Abnormal Voyages. My name is David, and today we are diving into the folk art scene of Houston, Texas. Behind me is Smither Park, where we have some wonderful pieces on display. Tag along, let's check them out.
We're going to a place that you've never heard of before. It's Abnormal Voyages. You're gonna learn something new. We're gonna open new doors. It's Abnormal Voyages.
Opening in 2016, Smither Park is a relatively new addition to the art scene of the city of Houston. However, it has quickly become a very popular destination. The park has been named after two of the biggest supporters of the arts in the city, John and Stephanie Smither, and was put together by over 300 artists. The park is inspired by the philosophy of promoting and sustaining self-taught art. Not only that, but they consider this to be a testimony to the vibrancy and creativity of the city of Houston. And in that same spirit, there is no admission price, and this wonderful art installation is free to any and all that care to come by and check it out. There's a lot of new friends to be made here at Smither Park, including this very good boy right here. There's also this lovely skeleton couple who are still wearing their wedding outfits and are playing a very high-stakes game of checkers. Or perhaps you would like to dive under the sea and spend some time with some very famous characters. Squidward, Mr. Krabs, SpongeBob, and Patrick are all here hanging out and ready to see some art with you. There's even a very, very lovely set of swings here at the park, so you can kick back and just reflect on everything you've seen and enjoy the wind in your hair and the sun on your skin on a beautiful, warm Texas day. One of the big highlights of the park is the memory wall that stretches across one entire side. This is a massive mosaic that has tons of little characters and creatures hidden throughout it. If you look closely, you can actually see that every single piece here is made with found items. Whether it be broken up plates or pieces of recycled plastic, they've taken it and repurposed it into some beautiful art, such as this here, the dueling hummingbirds. Very creative. As I mentioned before, over 300 artists all pitched in to help create the installation here. This wall is where a vast majority of them were. They were able to each get a small section and build whatever their hearts desired. Though at first it may just seem like a random mishmash of different things that don't really make any sense together, when you look at it as a whole, it's almost like a story is being told through this art. It really is showing the heart and soul of not only the people who created it, but the very city that this exists in. Another facet of the project, which I think is really awesome, is that they never consider this to be complete. There's always room for new things to be built or another wall to go up and add to the massive memory wall that's already here. So, in that way, this has become kind of a living, breathing installation, something that is constantly going to be changing and growing and evolving, just like the very people who created it. The armadillo and his friends here playing music is probably my favorite section of the wall. I mean, how can you not see that and instantly fall in love with it? In fact, I think that there are so many little details and tiny nuances throughout this mosaic. You could probably come and spend an entire day just looking at every single piece and find something new at every inch you looked at. I think that's very impressive.
One of my favorite features of the park here is this amphitheater, where they do have different concerts and little things like that. You can tell that it's actually a giant fish. We've got its teeth coming down, and then on the ground here, more fish that are trying to escape its mouth so they don't get eaten. Very cool, very colorful. I dig it.
On the ground, here's all the water signified by the blue, and all the fish and dolphins and sea creatures that are just trying to get out of the way and not become this giant fish's dinner. The back of the stage is decorated as well with this nice reflective glass that makes it much easier to light up and have some cool effects during the shows. And then these here are made out of street signs from all over the city, so it really incorporates that Houston feel into the park. And then we finally get to the outside of the fish, where you get to see all the multicolored scales, the giant eyes. He's got his little fins up there. A very impressive piece of art, and even cooler that people are able to perform in his mouth. Art in general is very much a project of passion and love. And I think everywhere in this park, you can see just how much creativity and energy was poured into every single inch of the art on display here.
You can even sit in the throne and become king or queen of the jungle yourself. But this isn't the only folk art we're looking at today. Let's go see what else Houston has in store for us. Located just a short distance away from Smither Park, we have the one and only Beer Can House. We begin our tour right outside the Beer Can House, and the beers have already started. Everywhere you look, more cans. We're going to go through the gate. Even the boundaries of his property were prime real estate for more beer cans. And then the house, covered in yet more beer cans. We're actually going to start our tour at the back. That's the door that they have accessible for us. So we're going to look at the front, but then we're going to move to the back to actually go inside and see what it looks like.
This astonishing artwork was the passion project of John Milkovich. He started it in 1968 by inlaying thousands of marbles, rocks, and different colorful metal pieces into concrete and wood, primarily to form landscape features. He said he did this to cover all the grass because he got sick of mowing it. Once the front and backyards were completely covered, he then turned his attention to the very house itself.
This is the porch where they had the original front door right here, still got the handle, all covered up. And then these, which I really like, when the wind blows, make a nice beer can sound.
John was a massive fan of beer, as you may have guessed, and while he was creating all his different landscape projects, he was saving all the cans that he would drink. He didn't quite know what for, but he knew he wanted to do some big project using them. He just had to figure out what. He started by making a couple of these garland-like fixtures with the tops of the beer cans, and it honestly wasn't long from there that he began adding beer can siding to his house. Over the next 18 years, and an estimated over 50,000 beer cans, the house became much like what we see today. John actually didn't even consider this to be an art project. He just thought of it as a fun pastime. And when asked what his favorite beer was, he just said, "Whatever's on special."
And now, taking a step back in time, we're going to go into the beer can house, and they've left it exactly how it was when he and his family lived here.
Inside, you're treated to a few pictures that show the development of the house back when it was first done. It was really neat seeing the different stages of it.
This is the kitchen area. They actually have on display several of the beer cans that are seen outside. A lot of nice vintage ones there. And if you're interested in checking out more vintage cans, over on the counter, they have these lovely books set up. You can flip through these and see different beer cans throughout the ages. Vintage ones they don't make anymore, really rare ones. It's just a nice little opportunity to get a little more in touch with beer.
Here's a well-preserved can versus a whole sheet of the same can that was turned into siding, and you can kind of see the massive effects that the sun, the rain, and all the nature's elements have taken on it. You almost can't even recognize what it used to be. As you look at this really quirky, fantastic art piece, you almost forget that this was a house that people lived in. So they made sure that in this small room there was different pieces of the actual lives of the family that inhabited here. A nice peek at the artist behind the art.
This display has a selection of his actual tools that John used when creating the outside of a house. He got his mallet here to use that he flattened out the beer cans, and then all of his trimmers, and then everything he used to put them together. I'm really glad they managed to keep these and have them on display.
John passed away in 1988 and was then cremated and had his ashes spread here at his beloved beer can house. In his own words, "They say every man should leave something to be remembered by. At least I accomplished that goal."
We've certainly seen some amazing things today, and I think the lesson overall is that art truly is all around us every day. You just got to know where to look. My name is David. This has been Abnormal Voyages. Thanks for tagging along. We'll see you in the next one.